Thanks for your time, everybody. So I wanted to talk today about the Lumiere apartment project that we did with Lowe Living, a local Bayside developer and builder. So developed by Lowe Living and then built by Lowe Create. Just kicking things off with our brief, it was really around developing a product that was right sized, this sort of new term in the multi-res world, which is, I suppose, a positive way of saying downsizing. You know, it's about, and right sizing can really apply to anyone from, you know, people any of our age to somebody in their 70s or 80s, who is right sizing for their point in life. And second part of our brief was really about being a good neighbour, and it's sort of acknowledging the neighbourhood residential zoning of the site and everything that goes with that around site coverage, garden area, setback requirements, overlooking, etc., etc. And then we folded in this idea of local, what's termed there as local texture, which is really about how can we make this a building that's of its place. It's not just another apartment building, you know, located in a beautiful suburb of Melbourne. How can the building imbue a sense of place? Bluff Road, north-south, reasonably busy road that runs from the Nepean Highway through to the Black Rock Village, not too far from Beach Road, and of course the beautiful coastline of Black Rock and the Bayside area. This was the site when we got it. It had been cleared at that point, not by our client but by somebody prior. Reasonably kind of contemporary, I suppose, dwellings on either side, the northern side being a series of semi-detached, single-storey townhouses, and then your traditional duplex response that was very quintessential of the Bayside area. And then we became very interested in this idea of going back to that concept of local texture. How can this development imbue some of the qualities of Black Rocks and the things that it's known for, such as HMVS Cerberus, the shipwreck out to sea, which is a bit of a diving attraction, this idea of coastal erosion, and then the beautiful red bluff cliffs of the area. So it was this idea that the building could evoke these qualities in its design response, and sort of set out to be, because of the quote from our client Tim Lowe, this sort of perfect blend of location and luxury. Some of the design strategies that we implemented on the building was, of course, this important streetscape alignment, which is part of a planning response. The neighbouring buildings didn't quite align, so we sort of split the massing in two to create this alignment. This idea of dividing axis, which was really about trying to create an individual sort of focal point for each apartment, so it wasn't a homogeneous building and broken up, so you could see the apartments from the outside. And then this sort of sliding, I suppose, line and elevation going from a single-storey dwelling to a two-storey dwelling on one side, and how the form responded to that. Taking some of the cues from the shipwreck, the beautiful curved shape of the of aspects of the boat, and sort of using that as a means to lead residents into the front door, and then in the resolution of some of the geometry of the soffites and the planning of the balconies and things on the first floor, start to create that link to that local icon. Using articulation as a means of managing privacy, and then making sure that every living room and every bedroom window had a visual aspect of landscape. Some stats: 6 apartments, 2 stories, 1,400 GFA, some car parks, a combination of 2s and 3 bedrooms. And then zooming into some floor plans. So the ground floor plan, these all sold first, interestingly. This particular demographic sort of likes that idea of still having connection to a ground floor terrace, to have terra firma, being able to garden, those kinds of things. So the planning was deliberately divided to have as many apartments facing west, which was potentially with access to the view on the first floor, and then having a larger courtyard-oriented apartment to the east. Sort of main access through the middle. And then moving up to the first floor of this building, similar planning configuration with the way it's laid out. So we a 3-bedroom apartment to the east, and then a 2 and a 3 to the west. These all sold very quickly. One of the east-facing one actually sold post-construction or post-PC, but very promptly as well. Parking. Let's go through that. So an enlarged floor plan of the ground floor courtyard apartment. This was the one that sold first. It was really about creating a large dwelling, which was 3 bedrooms. The third bedroom being flexible, directly off the living area, so it could be the study space or somewhere for grandchildren and the likes to stay, and making sure that there was a reasonably special sort of master suite with walk-in robe, nice ensuite, etc. And making sure that the open plan kitchen, living, dining was all functioning adequately, again, spacious. And then as soon as you open the front door, having that visual connection straight to outside, much like this room, I suppose. Some photographs of the finished product. The stone was a victim of COVID and an earthquake in Turkey, which was fun. So the sort of materiality that we sourced there, we had to change very promptly, but it's still a beautiful result. We managed to get a really good supply of split face limestone, which again sort of evoking at coastal morphology, and you can see it. You can see the geometry and the way the walls and things lead you into this building. Of course, the planting is never as mature as one likes on photograph day. Again, looking at some of the details, you can see how these forms start to poke themselves out quite proudly on the streetscape. A photograph of, I suppose, a typical kitchen in the interior, which was really some subtle detailing cues back to that sort of maritime reference in the at Black Rock there, with the geometry of the island bench, the metal selections, and of course adding the warmth and things of timber. Over the top of that, this connection through to outside, again, planting never quite as mature as you like on the day of photography. All of the purchases, I think we met with maybe 4 out of the 6 purchases to sort of go through different changes that they wanted to make. This was one particular client who was still working, so they wanted this idea of they wanted studies and those kinds of things. That was a really rewarding process. You sort of design these apartments with clients, as I'm sure you're aware, and you think you know who the buyer is, and it's always nice to sit down with them and tweak it to suit their sort of real needs. And it's nice that that clients are willing to do that. So this was this is a view sort of looking at that west-facing balcony. You can see the stone was just phenomenal. Came out really well. The craftsmanship was fantastic, and again you can see that reference, that link. Beauty of a building at the scale is you don't have to hide the staircase. You can put these things on show to encourage people to use them. And again, two-story building means you can get natural light into spaces you might not otherwise have. And a bit of a look at some of the detail. Again, purchases went wild with some of the changes they wanted to make. Thank you.